Tenho o prazer de ter aqui comigo o Wim Wenders, de volta a esta região. Thank you for being here, Wim, once more. In this place we have so many adventures. And I'd like just to start this press conference with you know that the Wim is opening this movie, Everything Will Be Fine, tomorrow, opening in Portugal, and at the same time we do this, we open the exposition with the photos of Wim in Portugal during the time. The years he went here, he came here to scout for his movies, and at the same time we showed the director's cut of Until the End of the World, the new print of The State of Things, the old print of The Story, and the new print of Wings of Desire. And that's for me really one of the most exciting parts of the festival. And thanks. I want to say some words before starting.
Thank you. It was all your idea because I took lots of photographs in Portugal and Lisbon, but I never printed them. And Paulo had this crazy idea to have an exhibition in the Museo de Agua, which is the wettest museum in the world. It's very scary to show anything there because it's wet. Everything is wet, so we made pictures that can get wet. And it's a very beautiful place. I'm very happy that you had this crazy idea. And actually some of these photographs are 35 years old. I made them in 1980. And I'm now 70 years, so half a life ago I made these pictures. And I know Portugal for half my life.
After a while.
Yeah, 35 years. And that's when we met for the first time, Paulo and I, in 1980. And we made many films ever since. I'm very happy that also we can show the director's cut of Until the End of the World, because that is the one film where Portugal served two countries in the film.
The two sides of Europe.
In the film also, because we couldn't shoot in Moscow, we didn't have the money, so I shot some of Moscow in Lisbon, which was quite crazy. And what was it called, the beautiful theater?
Eden. It was the Eden, do Teatro Eden, antes de eu ser. Peço para não tirarem fotografias por causa do som agora.
The Eden was the most beautiful place I ever saw in my life. And when I heard it was going to be torn down, I said, at least let's shoot it there one last time. So you see the Eden in its old glory. But of course, in the movie it's supposed to be Moscow.
And
Only you will know better.
And you see, and you can see Amalia.
And you can see Donna Amalia in a little heart. She's so beautiful. She's so beautiful in the street car. I so much wanted her to be in the film. How did we manage to get her? Did you charm her?
No, you charm her.
She was tough.
Yeah.
She was tough. She was a tough cookie, but she was beautiful. I better not say more. Maybe somebody has a question.
Yes, question. And from what? Sylvia, right?
What memories do you have from that time when you first did those pictures and shooting in Portugal, and comparing to now?
I don't know, I only have glorious memories of Lisbon and Portugal because all the times I spent here were good times in my life. And I don't know whether that was my life or whether that was Lisbon, but as it almost always coincided, if ever I'm miserable again in my life, I'll probably have to come here.
And do an extra?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I know a producer here. We just made another film.
Yeah, it just
But in France. You have to forgive us, we shot it.
About everything will be fine. There is a very interesting idea there. In terms of artists, sometimes they exploit real life and real suffering for other people. So I was wondering, have you ever debated yourself with that idea as an artist?
Sure. And it's not just storytellers. This idea is something that every artist is confronted. If you're a songwriter, I know so many songs that are about a very a relationship or an event or something that happened to somebody. And there are so many songs that deal with loss or love. And it's like there's so many novels that deal with something that happened to somebody. And there's so many movies that deal with things that initially happened to a person. Each time I see a film that says after a true story, well, first of all, I don't believe it most of the time. And I also think it's a strange term, true story. It's a contradiction in terms, really. But I always also think that if this really happened to a real person, does this real person know this became a story? And how does the real person feel about this? And I think that's a very, very important question for an artist. If you use other people's life, how do they feel about it? First of all, do they know about it? And second, do they feel that this represents their life well, or do they feel exploited? So I think it's a dilemma in every artist's life to use not only your own experience but something that concerns you. And in our case, the writer uses this traumatic thing that happens in his life. He uses it to turn it into a novel. But the people that are involved in this traumatic event, he keeps them out of his life. And he keeps this event out of the life of his own family. He separates it. This is something that happened and he doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He said he deals with it in his fiction. And that's not a good way to deal with things that are traumatic. You can only solve them eye to eye with people that are concerned. That's my conviction, and that's what the film also says.
I would love to ask you a question that I know has been asked a lot of times before about this movie, which is the use of 3D when it concerns a drama, because it's not that usual in the industry right now, and I would love to know what do you think that adds to the story, to the film, to the grammar or style of your movie making?
I think it's obvious what it adds to these other movies. I think it's obvious what 3D adds to action films and animation films. It makes these films more artificial. And it adds to a feeling of excitement or entertainment. And it's my firm conviction that 3D is really invented to do the opposite. And my very firm conviction is the ideal language to enter into reality and not to create separate realities. I think it's the best thing that cinema ever invented, to take you into somebody else's life and not to take you into other planets or into fantasy land. So I'm disappointed that not many other directors used this language so far, other than for fantasy. And my biggest fear is that this language will go away without ever being able to show its true potential. And it could go away because people right now are sick and tired of 3D. Because even in my film, there's people who said, well, we don't want to see it because 3D is not for us. And I said, for heaven's sake, yes, you're right, 3D is not for you, but it is for you if you look at it this way. And I think it could be one of the big scandals of the history of cinema that this language disappears without ever having been really used. Well, I think I did use it really, but I'm like a tiny little fish in a 3D tank. And I use it in a different way. And the industry is not really pleased with me. The industry papers, when this film came out, all said, what is this? Why do we need this? They didn't even understand that anything could be done that is not fantasy.
And did the 3D process, did that interfere in the casting? Because the performances, they must be much more subtle, I guess.
You're totally right. Performances have to be extremely subtle because these 3D cameras see everything is enlarged. They see the slightest little mistakes. Also in action. And any tiny little overacting that you can get away with in any other movie in 3D becomes blown out of proportion. So my actors, who all of them are minimalists anyway, had to even reduce it more and had to be even. You see, it's almost like you're not allowed to act anymore. You have to be that person. And if you are that person, the camera loves you. And if you play that person, the camera disguises you right away. The camera reveals that you're playing the person instead of being. And not many serious actors so far have actually stood in front of the camera. And even somebody as beautiful as Johnny Depp, when he's doing the Pirates movies, he is not there. He is on vacation. And he plays a character. But I think in 3D you can play deeper characters than you could ever play them in front of anyone. If you become these characters. It's scary for actors. It's scary for makeup artists. It's scary for a lot of people because it shows mistakes so much clearer.
So, but do you fear 3D becomes a gimmick that in a few years will disappear and will not be used again?
I'm afraid this could happen. I'm afraid this could happen if not other directors agree that it is a beautiful tool to look at the world, not just foreign images. We just made another 3D movie, and it's very undramatic.
Why did the industry criticize the fact that you used the 3D in this film? What did they say about that?
They said we don't know why you use it for this. We don't know why this is needed for us. Because I'm very sure they didn't even try to enter the story. Some of these industry papers, they saw 15 minutes of the film and walked. They didn't even see the film, but they wrote the reviews. I know.
Any other questions?
Come on, let's speak about something nice.
About the exhibition that will open tomorrow. I haven't seen the photos, so can you tell me, are they portraits, landscape, urban landscape?
I'm not a portrait photographer. I'm married to a photographer. She does great portraits. I don't have that gift. I'm a photographer of places, and I think I'm good at photographing places and at showing the potential, storytelling potential of places. So I photograph all sorts of places in Lisbon. There is no portrait, right? Not one.
No. That I know. The photos I saw, there is no portrait.
But I wait until people have gone out of the show.
Yeah, it's true that not only these photos, when I saw your exposition in Berlin, it was incredible. The photos in the States and everything.
It's a strange phenomenon. You have a photograph, and most of my photographs are quite big, and you have a little person in there. And everybody who looks at the picture only looks at the person. And everybody expects to find out something about this person. And if that person isn't there, people look at the city, the landscape, the houses, the horizons, and they discover what the place tells us about people. Because I take photographs of places because places can talk about us, about civilization. And I think places can tell incredible stories of civilization if you read them and if you listen to these places. And as soon as there's the person, you want that person to tell you the story, you don't want the place to tell you. So I wait until people have left.
Did you prepare the photos for the place where it's being exhibited?
Yes, all the photos, almost all of them we have not even printed before. We printed it for the show because he had this crazy idea. It's your fault. But I like it a lot. I'm very happy he had this crazy idea, and I'm also very happy that he thought this was the perfect place to show photographs. Because it is. They get wet. You have to live with that.
And where your fascination about portrait, what does that come from? People talk a lot about the light here. I don't know.
This is something special.
This is very special. Today is very special for you too, you know? It's 25 degrees, come on. It must be special for you. If it's not special, I move it tomorrow. No, the light in Portugal is special. You know, of all the directions, I mean, there's south and north and east and west, and I've never been interested in any other than west. And for me, from Berlin, Lisbon is the most western place in the world. Maybe that's it. It's as simple as that. You couldn't go further west unless you take a boat. I love going west. Even when I was a young man. Go west, young man. And when I went further west, I eventually ended in Portugal. I don't know what it is. I think it's God loved this place quite a lot. created. How come yet we don't have Perseus in Germany, for instance? It's the best thing on the planet, only happening here. Even the Japanese tried to import it. They didn't know how to do it. So I have to come here each time. Thank you all so much.
What can you tell us about the beautiful days of Aranjuez?
The Beautiful Days of Conquest is our new film that we have finished, will be finished early next year. And it's a long dialogue between a man and a woman. It's really one summer long that a man and a woman talk about each other. And it's like the last dialogue of a man and a woman before the end of the world. It's really about love and sex and forgetting and remembering.
That's all. You see it next year.
You saw the play last year,
In
right?
glorious
Yeah.
3D.
Glorious.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I hope you come tomorrow at 3 o'clock to open up the exposition. You are all invited. It's going to be.
Bring your bathing suits.
Thank you.